prepare. Welcome to a world of the fantastic and the macabre. Welcome to Ghost Stories YYC. Prepare yourself for a tale of terror. Written by Anita Harris, with art by Anita Harris. Ghosts of their former selves. You never realized how many words associated with dying begin with D. Dead, deceased, departed, demise, disease, denial, decay, drained, distressed, decimate, destroyed. You're up to 26. You could go on. It's funny where your mind wanders when seated by a bed in the late hours, watching your loved one raggedly breathe, just waiting, watching, hurting. Standing, you stretch to regain some circulation and quietly slip from the room to walk down the hushed corridor in the dimmed artificial half-light. Passing other rooms, your own experience is mirrored back to you from other families who also sit, wait, watch, hurt. Those lying in the beds are all so pale as sickness racks their bodies, leaving them shrunken, weakened, frail. Faint emanations catch their ashen faces. Shadows cast across their sharpened cheekbones, and the grays, pale blues, and whites from the fluorescent lights play and dance in the angles of their faces. Eyes closed, or worse, half open but cloudy and dulled, the spark that the living take for granted all but gone. They are ghosts of their former selves. The eyes of a family member flick up as you pass by, briefly locking with yours, and you see the pain that is contained within before they avert their glance, and you continue further down the corridor. You reach the kitchenette. With practiced mechanical movements, you take a cup from the cupboard, grab a tea bag, pull the lever for hot water, and make yourself a drink. You halt momentarily, gaze unfocused, mind disengaged, yet erratically it spins, leaving you feeling depleted. Another D word. You blink, inhale, and return back the way you came. Your eyes stray to the paintings and prints framed along the walls. Pausing in the darkened stillness, you read some of the inscriptions and memorials, but eventually you reach your loved one's room, and your hand stretches out to turn the handle. Unseen ancient deities begin gathering. From the corner of the room, eyes, eons old, watch as she quietly slips out the door. She'll return soon. Hypnos, why am I here? The old familiar affection caused him to slightly tilt his head. Mother, it is good of you to come. It has been a while. That doesn't answer my question. Did you see Hemi? She was looking radiant as always. Did you ask me here to rub salt into an old wound, or was there another purpose? My time is valuable and could easily be spent elsewhere. Mother, you have nothing but time. I thought it might be nice for a family reunion. Really? All of us at the same time? That would not work out so well, I think. Besides, why here? Scanning the darkened room, she took in every detail. You've removed yourself, Mother. You do not seem involved anymore. Her eyes narrowed. This again? He finally turned towards her. His misty gray eyes sought her piercing amber ones, and as their gazes caught, the clash of their powers began to stir. Mother, Hypnos, I didn't create them. They're like ants to me. Getting involved with them only leads to trouble. You know that. The Nosoi are rampant, spreading unrestrained. They are also not my responsibility. Pandora is to blame. Pandora was just a poor young girl, misled. Derisively glancing down, she regarded the old man asleep in the bed. Sighing, she relented slightly. I did what I could. I created you and your twin brother, didn't I? I expect he'll arrive soon, as you seem keen to gather us all together. She paused, softening further. My son, my Eos, you are too affected by them. It seems, at times like this, I am all they have, at least before my brother is needed. How do you know this is the Nisoi? It could be Apollo, or even Ceres. Apollo is too preoccupied with himself, and the Caries are savoring the wars that ravage this earth's plain. This is definitely Nosoi. Hesiod wrote, "The Nosoi like to bring their mischief to mortals silently, although I would argue terminal illness is more than mischief." He hesitated. "Mother, you are more powerful than any of us. You could... Hypnos, we have been through this. Your sisters, the Morai, give out the length of time each mortal has. What they choose to do with that time is up to them." Hypnos gestured to the old man. "But mother, this ending, this..." She searched her son's kind eyes. She did understand. She loved her family, but they had each forged their own paths. Perhaps Hypnos found it harder than his siblings. Sensitive and compassionate, mortal's pain affected him greatly. At least his twin was detached. Looking back down at the old man in the bed, she knew his brother Thanatos would soon appear. Her eyes darted up as the door to the room began to open. Turning the handle, you slowly opened the door. You could have sworn you heard talking, but no one is there. Perhaps a TV from one of the other rooms, you muse. Continuing to enter, you retake your seat. Oasis steps around you, joining her family in the corner. "Mother, I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting you here." "Ozzy, it's good to see you. I'm here at your brother's beckoning." "I see. Hypnos, you never said." He smiled. "No, I find it's best not to divulge I'm orchestrating a reunion. For a moment, though, I thought perhaps the Nosoi had returned." "No," said Oasis. She too gestured at the old man in the bed. "The Nosoi need not return. Their cruel work is done." Imperceptibly, a slight, dark figure softly stepped toward them. "Brother," Hypnos welcomed. "Thani," breathed his mother. Thanatos nodded, acknowledging their greetings, but didn't speak. He never spoke. Gently easing past the figure sitting quietly by the bedside, his somber, intense eyes focused on the old man who was still sleeping and dreaming, his pain subdued, a temporary reprieve bestowed by Hypnos. Thanatos lay his cool, slender hand on the old man's forehead. At his touch, the old man's white bearded chin dropped a little. His mouth opened slightly wider. He exhaled deeply and became still. Melting back into the gloom, Thanatos nodded farewell to his family. Oasis stepped closer to the figure sitting by the bed. Looking at his mother, Hypnos asked, "The Nosoi?" She returned his gaze, and for a long moment studied him. Enveloping herself in her shroud of charcoal mist, she conceded, "Yes," and silently vanished. The music that your loved one enjoyed in life plays quietly from the night table. His sleeping breaths shift. At his final gasp, you collapse onto his still form, the tears that you have been holding in all these weeks spilling forth to dampen the bedclothes. Unfelt by you, Oasis strokes your hair, murmuring into your ear, and your anguish is finally released in a furious torrent as your body shakes with uncontrollable sobs of grief and loss until you are left completely devoid. Oasis takes her leave, her role completed. Watching you, Hypno slightly whispers, "You'll sleep, but later." After which he begins to fade slowly into the dissipating shadows as sunrise breaks on the horizon. You wipe your eyes, take a steadying breath and stand. There are phone calls to be made, medical staff to inform, family to meet. Moving past the bed, heading toward the door, a vague gray movement from the corner of the room catches your peripheral sight. Unsure what you are seeing, you peer further, your heart beating a faster staccato as you startle at the dim figure standing there. As the room brightens with dawn's first light, you discern the apparition as you, your wearied, gaunt reflection caught in the mirror on the wall. Desolate, despairing, devastated. And you realize you are all but a ghost of your former self.